Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Hello and welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Episode 78. It is Tuesday night. I want to say it's about March 19th. It's actually a year today that I have been at my current job, and I can't say that I have been less excited to have been anywhere for a year. Lots going on. It sucks, really. So I'm happy to say that I am here Tuesday night doing what I love to do best, having a little bit of adult beverages because I'm way over the age of 21. And I'm talking to motorcycle riders about moto stuff. So that's what's going on. Anybody that's just tuning in for the first time, you're watching Seat Time. Seat Time is an off-road news show talking about racing results, weird shenanigans that go on online, and possibly we're going to talk to some guys about their gray hair as they shave it off so that they can't see it anymore. I might be talking about Mike Lafferty. But what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be talking to Mike Lafferty, and we're going to be talking to Cowboy Kenny Bartram, two very, very different type of riders, but they're both awesome in their own right, and those are the kind of things that we're going to talk about. So Seat Time, you can find us at seattime.co. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Of course, this show, you can find us on YouTube, Stitcher, or iTunes. All you have to do is search for Seat Time, and just ignore all the guys that talk about their tractors. It comes up, it's weird, I just go with it. So, as I said, one of our guests for this evening is Mr. Mike Lafferty. So, Mr. Mike Lafferty, you're at Cole Kirkpatrick's house over in some part of Texas. I won't mention the city. Don't want to get him in trouble. How is your evening going, kind sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. So, I mean, you have been all over the freaking place when it comes to racing dirt bikes, especially when it comes to enduro because of the fact that you are, 9-time freaking champion? I mean, you have done this for a very, very long time. I think 1993 was when you won the first, regional, championship. So, dude, how have you been doing this for so long?
It's, if it was 9, I'd be done by now. But
was it 8?
I only got, yeah, it's only 8.
I would have never believed Wikipedia. Yeah. I would have totally. Well, all right. Well, you know what? I quit. I'm done. Yeah. That's fine. So you got 8. That's cool.
Yeah, it's only 8 was tied with Dick Burleson with. That's what. Not that I've been kind of keeping tabs on it, but if I got 9 or even more than that, yeah, I would have. I could say that I was pretty much done. But I don't know. I'm still going for it. So this is 19 years of racing for KTM. So I'm happy on that. Next year will be 20, and it's all good.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. So you're riding Husabergs now, but obviously you've been with KTM, I guess a parent umbrella corporation. I don't really know how you would say it. For majority, if not all of those freaking years. But you now have a 5th already in 2013 at Georgia, and then a 2nd at round 2, and you're getting ready to go into round 3 at the Concho Enduro this coming weekend. So you're off to a fantastic start if you are going for that 9th. Maybe that's what I was thinking of when I was randomly sounding like an idiot. So, I mean, what was it going into this year that you were just like, all right, how do I get my 9th championship?
I had a really good last season on a 2-stroke.
Right.
And, racing against Stu and all that, we, with Husaberg, we came back to a 2-stroke. It kind of, long story short, Husaberg kind of brought their technology back together with KTM, and it's real similar to a KTM, but it has a little bit of differences. So I got back to that. It felt like it gelled so much more, and I had a really good year, 2-stroke wise. I didn't change bikes all along. I stuck with the same bike, 250, 2-stroke, rode it a ton. We didn't have a 4-stroke. Last year it was only 250, 2-stroke, and 300.
Right.
So there was no 4-stroke option. Then at the end of the year, I went to Sweden, did some pictures and stuff, and rode a 350. Rode all the models. We came out with we have a 250, 4-stroke, 350, and a 500. And at the time when I rode them, I'm like, man, the 350 was my favorite bike. So it was just fun to ride. And in the wintertime, when I got an opportunity to ride one last winter or get one, I rode it all winter long. I rode it from November, December, and a little bit of January. And I knew times were going to change. I wanted to ride. Race my 2-stroke. So when that came back around,
we got you, Mike. Keep going.
I lost you on screen here. So
it doesn't think I'm attractive. And
Gotcha.
it just cuts out the video. It's just whatever.
Gotcha. So once that all kind of came back, I was like, man, I want to go back to my two-stroke, and things just didn't jive very well. So when I did that, I raced the first race, and I just wasn't clicking with my two-stroke. Things weren't coming around too good, and I wasn't gonna, after the first round with fifth, that really fifth for me was like my worst rate or worst place last year, and I just wasn't happy with that, and I worked so hard and it just wasn't jiving with it. I was like, why beat this up? I'm gonna go back to my 350. And as soon as that race was over, we went back home, got some things organized, changed things up, and I raced the last one in South Carolina and did really well. But even go back from that in the wintertime in January, I came to Sumter and raced the National Hare Scramble, and on my 350, raced with Charlie and Russ and Andrew DeLong, a bunch of guys, and I felt great on my 350. It was so much fun. Following weekend, I rode a practice enduro, and that was where I didn't do so well there, and that's where I kind of knew, man, I don't know if I should be doing this. So that was kind of the beginning of me going to switch things back, or I had it back in my mind I wanted to race my 350.
Right.
So that's where it all kind of stemmed from, and that's how I wasn't real happy with my first finish, but things turned around in the second round, and the whole day turned out really good. I had a great ride, and I love my 350. So needless to say, I'm on a 350 and I'm sticking to it.
Nice. Okay, well that's actually really good to know, because it sounds like from the chitter chatter online that a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, Mike's going back to a 350, because we saw, say, like the whole KTM team a couple years ago go to all two strokes. Saw you and Farringer going on to the two strokes kind of officially last year in the National Enduro Circuit. So it seemed like there was this really big push back to two strokes. People were like, wow, is this, and you see it, I think, as well in the hard enduro kind of stuff.
I mean, that's what the cool thing with KTM, they make such great good bikes on two and four stroke, and they're kind of like, hey man, whatever makes us happy. That's such a good thing with the company that we can.
Man, I'm telling you, this is going to kill me one day. Whenever we can figure this crap out, it's going to be awesome. So we got a little bit of technical difficulties. Steven's going to go ahead and get Mike Lafferty back on. We're talking right now about 252 strokes versus some of maybe the newer four strokes that they've got coming out. So it sounds like a 350. James, come over here and sit down with me really quick while we get him back. So this is, if everybody had no idea, this is James Hill. We're not going to have a really mic for him, so he's just going to have to say yes, no, maybe nod a little bit, and see how it goes. He may just stay here the whole time and look cute. I'm not too sure. So, but that's okay. He's got his drink going on. So you this past weekend went racing, right? Yep. All right. So we got a yes from him, just so you guys know. And did you like the track?
It was good. I enjoyed it.
He liked the track,
except for the dust.
Who likes dust in Texas, though? Really, I don't think there's anybody that really actually enjoys that. So I know we were out there on Saturday. We were playing around. We were trying to figure it out. We were having some fun. I thought the course was awesome. I thought they did a fantastic job laying it out. I was not out there for when they had the Toro race, unfortunately, but so I don't really know what the course was different. People said there was some Toro stuff, there was some non-Toro stuff. But I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked the blue lines. I'm glad that they made them tough again. I think that for a long time they were not making them tough. So
yeah, no. That's how the Toro race was. It had. I think it was all the same blue lines, but they were definitely
okay. So they did a lot of the same blue lines. That's good, yeah, because I think one of the first things that people said was that oh my gosh, TCCRA has put in tough lines. Like this is ridiculous, So I'm glad to see that. What I'm realizing now, though, Steven, is that we're going to have a second mic just at all times set up, ready to go for situations like this. When it's like, you know what? We have a sexy individual in the studio. We need to get it going. So it sounds like we've got a little bit more audio there. All right.
Sorry about that.
Hey, did you just want to take a quick break so you could eat your Wendy's and not have to be on camera while you did it?
No, I didn't move the little icon thing around here a little bit, so I went to sleep, and then I couldn't see his, and next thing you know, she's gone. So thankfully, Cameron showed up, Cole's brother, and hooked me up.
So what you're saying is you got a little computer illiterate. So it was actually nothing on our end.
Zero on your end, all me.
Damn it. One day we are going to have a non-technical difficulty show. I promise it's going to happen. I don't know when, but I can't wait for that day. Regardless. Okay, so as I was saying, a lot of people questions two-stroke, oh my God, four-stroke, and you're now going back to the four-stroke. So it's a new 350, the FE350 from Husaberg. Tell us about the new 350 and why that bike to you is so much better over the two-stroke or even better than its predecessor.
Like I said, I'll go back to Sweden. Shoot some pictures with it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is only 350. It had some good power. It actually was pretty fast. So that, and it seemed super light. I'm used to 400s, 450s, and KTMs. Not that they were heavy, but these things have slimmed down so much that it was super light, but it had tons of boost. So that's when it started getting in my mind that, maybe this thing would be, pretty good to race. And then once I got one in the wintertime, I actually rode it quite a bit at home and practiced with it quite a bit. And like I say, I tell a lot of people, like, dude, the 350's got tons of power, just as much as a 400 or one of my old 450 KTMs, and they look at you like there's no way, but it does. But other than the differences, it's got the full subframe is all composite plastic. 4-chamber fork, the new forks that have the rebound on one side, compression on the other. Virtually same frame, same swing arm, and it's kind of a mix in between a KTM motor, XC and W, but a little bit of XC stuff on the head and stuff. So it's kind of a hybrid in between the two motor-wise. Same chassis or frame, but different on like the subframe and some other stuff. So it's kind of got a mix of a little bit of stuff from both sides.
Interesting. Okay. And with this 350, do you feel that you have to, let me rephrase. When I was riding a 350, and from a lot of other people say, is that they feel like you go from the 250 to 350, you over-rev it like you would a 250, where on a 450, you kind of have a little bit more of a lazy person power band. Do you feel that this 350 is a lot the same, or do you just, do you not feel that that's the case at all?
As far as motor over revving it, no, I don't feel that. I just dig it because it's like turning it from an enduro. It's all about turns and left, right, switching, changing direction a lot.
Yeah,
you don't. The power, but it's also got the weight. It's almost like a two-stroke and a 300. Actually, same amount of weight, but a 300 just feels heavier, taking it from turn to turn, back and forth for a while. Where the 350 just feels nimble, the entire time. Compared to that, but motor-wise, it doesn't. As far as it has, I like bottom. I like to have a lot of bottom end, and it's got all the bottom I could want. And I feel like if it's revving it out, it's not like it. They're not revvers like they used to be. And I think when the first 2010, 11 350s came out, yeah, they were all about revving. But these things now, they got some motor into them now that they got lots. What they've done since then is they gained horsepower and they lost some weight, which is a great combination.
Right.
And that's kind of
sure.
What you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah.
Man. Okay, so with this 350, we're going into round 3 of the National Enduro Series. You have competed in, the first round of the GNCC and a local TCCRA race and some other local races. But for this race particularly, you're showing up a little early in Texas. You're going to do some testing. You're going to try to get some suspension stuff figured out. What are some of the things that you plan on changing or you think you're going to need to be changing for the Concho race this coming up weekend?
The only thing that for me is dry and hard packed. And that's the only reason why I came a little early and ride. We were already in Florida. So to come across and travel, it's kind of like, it's on the way. Why, no sense of going home in Jersey when it's cold. So for me,
yes.
Yeah. So there's snow there and there's not here. So we're good. But, my only thing is it's hard packed, so for tires instead of going from sand where you look at action. So that's the only thing. I rode the same exact bike in Florida Tuesday and Thursday at Alligator. I rode here at the local race. Same exact setup, same bike. All my mechanic did, Adam, was put on different tires. We rode a hard pack 31 done up front and back. And that's it. That's all we did. So for me, it's just traction and trying to getting used to it. For me, riding hard pack, slick, stuff like we did this past weekend is just getting me more comfortable to just riding that stuff. Not like I haven't done it in a while, but it just, for me, instead of showing up on a Thursday and Friday and riding for an hour or 2 hours, and then racing a race on Sunday. It just feels like I got a little bit more under my belt just to go out and ride and get used to the hard pack.
Yeah. Okay. Before we kind of come on to some of the racing you did this past weekend in Texas, how was it showing up at River Ranch at round 1 and like totally dominating on that first lap? I mean, you were right there with Whibley. I mean, that had to feel awesome.
Yeah, going from hero to zero and
yeah, but you also broke a shift lever off. So I mean, you had some mechanicals.
I wouldn't call that awesome, but yeah, all the week prior I rode quite a bit and practiced. I've ridden Florida all the time. I live in and I enjoy that place. That place is awesome, actually. And you know, I was just geared up for it. Kind of like for me, I knew I want to have a good result there. And when we got up to the start, I had a crap start, and I kind of did one of my old things where I kind of get I make the first lap like an enduro and pin it for a little while there, and got up to the front, and I knew there was some new stuff. And if I had the opportunity to lead in that new stuff, I wanted to. And I happened to get around Wibbs, I think, in some of the new stuff, and try and just hammer it. I felt comfortable. And then we finished out the first lap pretty decent, and then pretty much the wheels came off. And after that, I got stuck and got upside down in the mud hole and took my gloves off because I couldn't hold on, and goggles and all that. And then kind of got reorganized a little bit and tried to pin it from there, and did a big flip and landed in some trees, broke my shifter off, all kinds of crap, and I was pretty much took the wind out of my sails there, and I figured I was done.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of almost refreshing. I mean, not that I want you to get hurt, but it makes me feel good that the fast guys crash, because I crash all the time, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It's almost, humanizing a little to realize that you guys get upside down in mud holes and take your gloves off and get pissed and remove goggles and other kinds of, slow person shit.
And that to me, it was my idea or kind of, I'll say my choice, but I was asked to do that race, and I'm like, it was kind of one of those things like, hey, you got to come to Florida and just represent Husaberg and me and Russ. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take, it was like a challenge, but in the back of my mind, I don't want to get hurt. To be totally honest, I got my big prize and my big goal is the National Enduros, and I didn't have to be there, and especially I want to, but it's a double-edged sword when I want to go fast, I want to try and do my best, but you got to have in the back of your mind like, hey man, don't crash, don't fall.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like once that all happened, I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I did a big crash. I was bruised up. I was beaten up a little bit. It was like, man, you'll be fine. And then, that kind of settles in. And then that's where I took some of that aggression from there. It was a confidence booster that I could ride that pace and I could ride with those guys. I think that the pace, I haven't been able to see that maybe the last couple of years. And for me to get back up to that was definitely a boost. And then I took that into the Alligator on Thursday and just rode my own race and rode pretty well. Yeah,
totally kicked ass. That's interesting that you were talking about the pace for the GNCCs. Do you think that those guys, I am not a GNCC racer, obviously. Are those guys going 110% for 3 hours? Like just on it?
My personal experience from what I've ever done is I was back with Fred Andrews, Rodney Smith, all those guys. They'd get up to a start, they'd cruise, they'd pin it the last hour.
Right.
And me, I couldn't do that. Like I had the mentality of going fast, wanted to go fast right off the start, and then I didn't want to play their game. So for a lot of years, I struggled with that. And then finally, I just said, or my mechanic at the time was telling me, just go, just do what you want to do and ride. And then I ended up winning some, and I only won 2 GNCCs, and in my career, and that was when I led from the beginning to the end. But nowadays, for me, I haven't seen it in a while, but it seemed like a lot of these guys are just like, especially Charlie and Caleb, they look at it as a 13 race series. It's only the first lap. They look at it as it's, they're gonna, it's like a chess match, man. They're gonna go fast, but they're gonna stay out of trouble, and they're gonna just key up each other and kind of, just kind of ride. I definitely, in my opinion, they don't pin it off the first lap. They know it's a 3-hour race. It's grueling. It's tough. They have to pay attention to a lot of stuff. So, for me, to come in there and ride one race, my mentality is I want to pin it and go as fast as I can, as long as I can, where they're going to sit back and then just kind of, as the day goes on, just get faster and faster. And then, when the time comes, make their move at the end.
Right. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I've having talked to a couple of those guys and trying to figure out like what pace they go, obviously we know it's fast, so they go fast. That's good.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Yep, but it's a game that you have to learn how to play, and I think that those, especially Charlie, Caleb, all of them, they know how to play it, and they they work hard at that, and that's their, it's a 3-hour race, but there's little races within that whole thing, and the last, it's all about not, it doesn't matter about the first mile, it's all about the last mile and who's crossing checkers, at the end.
Yeah, and speaking of the last mile, we got to see Caleb Russell in the last mile. Well, he kind of had it for the last lap, but still it was really exciting to see him come away with the win this past weekend. He really, really wanted it at River Ranch, and he had it for a very long time, but it looked like Mullins got around him on the last lap. Mullins came around with the checker there at round 1, but now Caleb's got the win at round 2 at the General. Of those guys, or of any of the guys that you kind of have been able to meet and see now throughout GNCC, where do you see the big battle this year in the XC1 class?
Charlie for sure, is going to be strongest with being, he's got his bike organized now, and the guys, he knows how to win races. There's no two ways about it. But, and he's tough in every aspect of the thing. He knows the game. He knows, what to do and everything. But with Caleb, it's scary because the kid knows how to win races now.
Yeah.
He's scary fast, and he knows how to put it together. And it, not surprisingly that he won on Sunday, but to have Charlie push him all the way to the end, and I think Charlie got around him on the last lap, and Caleb got back by him, surprised me a little bit. But like I say, that just gives more fuel to the fire for him, and I see Caleb be super, super strong. Now also, I think when in riding the OMA races, that's only going to make him better. I think, he talked about, I don't know if he, cares, to do another series or what his whole thing is there, but I can only see that from my perspective, that from doing enduros and GNCCs back to back, they help each other and they kind of work. You learn one thing at one, it works better than another, and he's only going to be a better rider from there on out. From just racing GNCCs.
I'm just telling you now, I think either Mike forgot to move the mouse, or we may have lost signal again. Either way, we're talking about...
I'm going to kill the video on our side.
That's fine. I think that's absolutely perfect explanation for you, Steven, to kill the video. I'm going to kill the video star, because radio killed that motherfucker, or video killed the radio star, or whatever. Somebody's dying tonight. You know what I'm saying? It is getting super killed. So we're still live. We're still going. We're still talking with Mike Lafferty. We're going to get it back on here. Some of the stuff that did happen, though, as we were talking about, is the GNCC results this past weekend. So XC1, we had Charlie Mullins. We had Caleb Russell. Sorry. Caleb Russell got first. Charlie Mullins in second, and then we had Thad Duvall in third. I was actually extremely excited to see Thad Duvall in third, having talked with him a lot at the ISTE about what he was trying to do and accomplish, getting his win last year. So I think he's strong. I think Thad's going to have some more wins. Obviously, Paul Wibley's been having some issues. I think he's trying to figure out maybe where this new speed came from. I don't know if it's new speed is the right word from some of his competitors, or if it's just something else. So it's going to be interesting to see how Thad Duvall kind of really, keeps on going. What's up, Mike? You look good.
It wasn't me this time, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to say anything about anything because Steven already decided we're killing people tonight. So.
Right on.
But so good.
Yeah, back to all that. I think Caleb's going to be really strong. I think he's figured it out and he's got things going on. But the whole thing with with those two, I think they're going to be top runners. And there's no way you can count out Wibbs and Strang and those guys. They know how to win races too. And once they get organized, they're going to be tough. And who I hope really does well, and that I kind of I've been kind of been known him for a long time is Thad. Getting third last weekend was good for him. I think it's I think he's on a good bike, and hopefully he can. The kid can ride. The kid can ride a bike, and if he can ride to his potential, I think he can win races. So.
Absolutely,
a bit of a kicker for him, and you know what I mean. He can get it done.
Yeah, and he got that win last year. So I think he can build upon that one. And if he gets another win this year, he's going to be in a really, really good place to do really well. XC2 class has been really. Andrew Long, 2 wins in a row already. We saw him do really, really good at the end of last year. He was out early because of an injury, and Stuart Baylor really kind of took the points lead from that point. But and then Jason Thomas coming back and getting the win, so the overall win. So I think him with Jason Thomas, there's going to be, and then Grant Baylor stepping it up and getting on the podium. If Zach Osborne makes a couple more, he's going to be stealing points away from people. And it's good racing. I like it. And then now that the GNCC webcast, have you had a chance to watch any of the live webcast that's been going on?
No, I raced on Sunday at the local there, so I missed that, and I haven't had a chance to really check.
Oh yeah, and you were in the GNCC round 1, so
exactly. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that one. I mean, I could have because I only did one lap, but
yeah. I mean, seriously, what the hell? Why be pissed off about a broken shift lever when you just go sit down in front of a computer and watch the rest of it?
Yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to do.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, okay, so before we talk a little bit about the TCCRA stuff, I wanted to say thank you very much to one of our partners and sponsors of the show. Of course, Fly Racing. If you haven't never seen pictures of James Hill and I when we're out racing, we're wearing Fly gear right now. I've got my Fly Racing shirt on right now because of the fact that they make cool shit. You know what? I like to look cool, so I put cool shit on. No, but seriously, 2013, they've got some really, really nice stuff that's coming out. We're about to see their new kinetic mesh line come out, which I'm super excited for. They've got some really badass looking ads that have coming out, and they make it look really cool. But what I like about it is they've got all these fun. Yeah, what's up? I'm getting close. I'm getting all up in there, showing in my armpit hair. It's fine. So Fly Racing has got some new stellar stuff coming out. They even have a cool zipper lock badge thing on there. And it actually works. I kind of thought it was a gimmick at first before I put the gear on the first time. It works. It keeps my zipper up. My shit doesn't fall down. Do you think I look cool, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? If this guy doesn't know what's not cool, I don't know who does. So please go check them out, flyracing.com. Very, very big supporter of Seat Time. Our title sponsor for the show. I mean, they pay oodles of money to do that, too. Oodles. I mean, Steven is rich now. I don't make anything. Steven gets it all. So we really appreciate that.
Wish I knew what account that was going.
Yeah, I know. Just kidding. But they're really awesome. Please go check them out. So, Mike, this past weekend you showed up in Texas early, as we were talking about, and you randomly showed up at a TCCRA event, which is one of our local Texas cross-country race series. How did you find out about the race, and what brought you out there?
Well, I'm good friends with Cole Kirkpatrick, and I actually called him, I think it was last week when I was in Florida, and said I was going to come across and what he was going on, and he off went and got a job on me, so that kind of threw a monkey wrench in my plans. But he said that
like, I want your couch. I'm not home.
Yeah,
Damn it.
like, yeah, I figured, of all the times he's come to my place and hung out, last year or 2 years ago, that I'd come here and crash at his place for a week and do some riding or just going around. And I asked about it. I said I was going to come across. He's like, well, there might be some races going on that weekend. And I was like, man, from Alligator on Thursday, we didn't leave till midday on Friday. It was going to be tough to get over here. And, it's quite a long drive. So on the way across, I just looked on the website. He's told me about it. My buddy Steve Levain was telling me about it. And, I said, I can do it. And I was like, you know what? I think I showed up like 8:30 on Saturday night, and I'm like, I'll look around. If it looks good, everybody said the property was cool, that I'll just go and ride and see what happens. So I'd rather just show up late and get up in the morning. I think it was 7 or 8 o'clock or something to do a practice lap and look around. And that's it. It was pretty much, I didn't really make a decision. If I could do it, I could make it. I did. And it was, any racing I think is, especially in the same state, if it's close by that, and I have the time to do it, I'm going to try and pull it off. And I do a lot of local races at home, local races wherever I can go. And if I, have something going on, especially the following weekend, it can do nothing but help me in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great that you're going to do stuff like that because supporting the local series is extremely, extremely important. They're not doing this to become rich, but they do need to pay the bills. And every racer that can come in and pay a little bit to help out, if not to just try to win a purse, can help out the series. And I think that's fantastic. So you got the win this past weekend, and I was not there. I was at home. I was doing housework and stuff like that. But of course, afterwards, people are like talking about all kinds of stuff. You got the win. There was some kind of weird protest. So just, from your perspective, tell us what happened and kind of what went down on that end.
I was told these places from Cole and some other guys that, hey, there's ribbon sections of stuff that there's hard ways to go up certain hill climbs and rock things or whatever, and it's blue ribbon or whatever, and you got to stay within that and pretty much just stay within those boundaries or whatever. If they have a section, you got to stay from one point to another, but it's got to be in the blue or whatever. Blue ribbon marks that thing.
Right.
So I was like, all right, because I guess that's a hard way. A lot of, you can go that way. If not, you go around, and then they meet back together and so forth. So that's all I kind of knew. I've done tons of stuff before, easy ways, hard ways, all that kind of stuff. But, to stay on the main line and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I wasn't even going to go practice until I heard some of that stuff, being harder or type of line. So I just went and looked around in the morning, and I kind of understood, but I thought that it meant like if there's a ribbon on the right and the left, you had to stay between those two, things all the way to its point. And, from my, wasn't anybody there to look at from my experience, and for me just riding around and looking at it, it was pretty self-explanatory. It wasn't like you needed anybody to tell you go here or go there or whatever. You kind of stopped at the bottom. You can understand it said easy one way, hard the other. And when you got to the top, you merged back in with the track. So, for me, I wasn't looking, as far as gaining anything or go win the race or, looking at it like I got to go do this. I've been in plenty of races where I've lost local stuff before. So for me, I'm not going out there and putting it on the line and busting my butt, to race against a local kid that's going for a series championship.
Right.
I'm a spoiler or however you look at it. You know what I mean? Some people think it's dumb. Some people it's not. My perspective is I'm doing it a long time. I want to ride my bike. I want to have some fun. And when it comes to racing, I'm going to race, but if I get beat, I get beat. I think it makes you a better person when you do get beat or you have competition with someone. I would rather ride with fast people, especially like I did this past weekend. The kid that I raced with, I'm not really sure of his name.
Cody Beck is the one who got second place. That obviously the protest was about too, but it's Cody Beck. Yep.
No, the kid is fast. There's no two ways about it. The kid is fast. And I like a challenge with that, and with someone racing or someone coming up with me or, a lot of places, there's no two ways about it. He was faster than me in some places, and for me to get, when he caught up to me, he kind of went, go to the inside line of me and went around. No problem, man. I was good with it. I followed him, and it kind of made me eye open up a little bit about, man, charge a little bit harder or do whatever. But for me, that's just racing,
Right.
And I don't remember if it was that lap or if I don't remember exactly what lap, how long I stayed behind. But apparently when I passed them on a blue line thing, like you went up top of this hill and you turned to the right, the blue line kept going longer for a little while, for another 100 yards, and then it came back.
Right.
Well, there was a burned-in line that you went right, because it was only, I'm not trying to make it seem like it wasn't that big, but it was in a field, and when you came back together, it was only like 10, 15 feet wide that the trails came back together.
Yep.
We're supposed to stay to the right on that blue line thing all the way around for another 100 yards. So when we got up there, it was like he pinned it. It was, I was alongside of him, and it was a drag race, but he stayed to the right, and I stayed to the left. But I was on the wrong line, and I went to the next turn on the outside, but he said I was on the orange. So, and I'm not trying to make it seem like, for me, I'm giving it, giving my example of it. He probably has a different side of it or whatever. But in that state of things, it's almost like the club's fault, and I'm not trying to seem like if somebody coming there and showing up, I've been in a lot of races, I understand all this kind of stuff. If there's a spot like that, maybe the club needs to maybe learn from that. Or if that happened, for me, if I was at a local race, something that happened and the kid didn't know or I didn't know, that's not going to demoralize me or it's going to make me want to fight. I was only on the second lap. I think this happened there was another hour and 20 minutes of racing. You know what I mean? Let's get it done. He caught me once, he can catch me again. Let's do this. So on that side of things, but it's kind of, I don't know what else even, to remark about. It's, if we can learn something from it, does it give me a bad taste in my mouth that I'm going to show up at another TCR race and make sure that, I stay on the line and, that I don't cheat, or I guess however you want to look at it. It doesn't really, everybody's got their rules and their thing, and I'm not there to disrespect that or to go there and just win the race just because of that. Hey, if I knew I did wrong, dude, you can take my. I would have, you can have the trophy, you can have the money, because guys like that, for whatever the purse was and so forth, they work hard for that.
Right.
I give them, for me, I race for a living. I'm there to have fun. I'm there to get racing. I'm there to get some practice in. I'm not there to cut the course to win a local race to have whatever, you know what I mean? A plaque or whatever, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's good to get your side of it for sure. And I think from unfortunately, the little bit that I was able to dig up and stuff, it sounds like you guys had a great race going on. That Cody Beck did a phenomenal job. He has been working really, really hard. He was a pro. Then he kind of went to school over in Europe, and he came back, and he's been really working hard ever since. And I think it's paying off. I think it shows. Like you said, he was going really fast. He was in front of you. He passed you. So I think we should have another race. That's what we should do. Just say, I think it'd be fun. But
and that's where I say, it has a chance that the bottom line, the kid can ride a bike, and I told him, I said, hey man, I told him, good job, sorry that happened. If that's what you feel, you got to go do that. You know what I mean? No disrespect, go for it. It's your. He lives here. I don't. I'm just passing through. So it's his side, my side, whatever. To me, I'm going to go home and race some local races myself and have some of the same situations. So, it's not going to, put a damper on me for going to races or whatever. I'm still going to go and ride.
Right.
So my big goal is next weekend and getting myself organized for that and, meet some people on the way. And I've hung out at Action Motorsports here in Decatur and, met a bunch of people and been hanging out. It's been fun, and that's what I'm all about. I want to have some fun while I'm here and get organized and just hang out in Texas.
Dig it. Well, I think that's a fantastic idea to do. So this past weekend, TCCRA, we had the pro class, Mike Lafferty with the win. We had Cody Beck with second and Cameron Ishmael in third. Cameron Ishmael had a big knee surgery this past year, so I'm happy to see him up there competing with those guys again. Cody Beck's been working really hard. Cameron Ishmael's been working really hard. I think having a guy like you, Mike Lafferty, come in and challenge him is good regardless. I think maybe, if my own personal opinion, considering I was out there on practice on Saturday, I did see the line issue on the blue and the pink. I think that it was not marked very well, and they could have done things better. As we said, this is something, a great way. Nobody wants to learn while they're on fire, but if you're going to learn while you're on fire, you might as well learn when the shit burns you. So, that's just, and so hopefully this is all something we can, that the clubs can learn from, everybody else can figure out, and we can go racing another weekend, because regardless, we're going to go racing another weekend. So I think that's what's going to happen. So, dude, all right, we're coming to a little bit of a close on our time cap here. We're going to talk to Cowboy Kenny Bartram in a little bit. But, dude, give us a little bit more of a lowdown what the rest of your year is going to look like, where people can find you online, and, how they can follow your progress throughout the rest of the year.
Well, the main thing is Husaberg with National Enduros. So anything on was it nationalenduro.com where all those races. I think we'll be back here close in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. That's probably a local one for you.
Yeah, it's like October, I believe.
Right. So and then Louisiana, it will be in a few weeks. So I'll be driving back over to that, dropping a truck off and flying home for a couple weekends. But all National Enduro stuff, and then a lot of other stuff I do too is the Ride Orange events. So if you go to KTM USA and check out Ride Orange, there's a lot of races a lot of trail rides, a lot of things we do for demos, and a bunch of stuff I help KTM out do with them also. There's a big rider rally we do every year. This year it's going to be in Colorado Springs in September, I think. Ooh. September. So big ride, big 990 KTMs, all that kind of stuff. So I do try like 15 events with those guys doing that stuff, and like I say, kind of fills in between the gaps of the National Enduros, which is only 10, but there's enough there to kind of keep things organized or keep the year going with all that stuff. Plus our dealer meetings and all that stuff. I think our dealer meeting this year is in Austria at the factory, so that'll be fun. And new bikes coming out. We'll be jumping on those things. I think Husaberg's going to launch their bikes way sooner. I think they'll be out maybe July.
Whoa.
So yeah, it's going to be real early on that side of things.
So can I just buy like a 2015 now?
I think 14. I don't know if you can go 2 years ahead of time.
Well, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, if we're starting to jump like 6 months ahead, I mean, we might as well just like whatever.
Keep trucking, yeah. But no, they got new things going on. It's supposed to be pretty good with that. And then it's always, it always seems to be something happening and going on, and a bunch of local stuff or whatever racing. But yeah, everything it's going wide open, man.
I like it. Wide open's not a bad place to be. Well, dude, we really appreciate you being on the show. We never had you on the show before, and obviously that's going to have to change. You're still a very big staple in our community, especially in more off-road and the enduros and stuff, but that's where I grew up doing, so I love hearing about you, talking to you and stuff like that. So I'm going to see you this next weekend. When you see this sexy human beast right next to me, well, you can't see him right now, but you will, because he's...
I saw him earlier.
Yeah, and you were like, whoa, check that piece of meat out. That's ridiculous. No, you weren't, but that's okay. We're going to see you this next weekend, and we're probably going to say hi. We're going to high five and make it as awkward as possible. Okay?
Perfect. That's cool. I really appreciate it having me. Thanks for Cole for hooking this all up and lining it all up, because I don't even barely got to turn on a computer. So he took care of me there, and so we're good.
I like it, man. Well, we appreciate it. Drive safe. We'll see you on Saturday.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks,
dude. Take it easy. All right, as Steven goes ahead and signs on our next guest, I'm going to go ahead and talk about our one of our other show sponsors. So this is a good one, Squarespace.com. The good thing about Squarespace.com is that you can have the most professional-looking website at the most ease of use ever. You go on to squarespace.com/seattime, and you sign up for your free, no credit card needed account. And with this account, then you can pick your domain name. So it's your domain, and you keep it, and you go with it. And then from there, what you could do is you could use the discount code, SeatTime1. And with that discount code, you save 10%. That's if you want to sign up and spend money. But if you're just like, hey, what's up, trial account? I'm just going to use you for a little while, make a bitchin' website. You can do that. And I think that that's awesome. What they have as well, it makes it really cool, is a lot of templates. And so you don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a designer. You can have a bitchin' awesome website without any of that crazy stuff. And I think that that's the way it should be. They do all the hosting. Everything is responsive. So if somebody comes to your site on an iPad, they see it just fine. It's fancy. iPhone, fancy and fine. Computer, fancy and fine. Shit's awesome. Isn't that awesome? That's awesome, right, James? Yeah, it's awesome. All right. So remember, squarespace.com/seattime. A discount code SeatTime1 if you want to save 10% off of your purchase. They even have a new e-commerce solution if that's what you're in the mood for. You want to sell stuff? Sell stuff on Squarespace with your Squarespace site. Thank you very much, Squarespace. We appreciate your support. I believe that Steven has just signed us on to Kenny Bartram, the cowboy, who has his cowboy hat on. What's up, dude? That's one hell of a goatee you got going on.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I'm not gonna lie. I've had a couple whiskeys and Diet Cokes. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's all right. No worries. I won't hold it against you.
I don't want to hold anything against you either, because that could be awkward for all of us. So what's going on tonight? Where are you right now?
I'm actually in our office in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We have horrible internet reception out at our house. Everything goes by cell phone and air card out in the country, so we have a little office in town. Came down to make a little midnight stop, or I guess 8 o'clock stop at the office.
Right. So you're in Stillwater. I know you're from Stillwater, but are you back living in Stillwater full time now?
Yep. Yeah, I was born and raised here, and this is where our mail still goes. We're hardly ever here. Travel about 250, 280 days a year. So, but when we are home, this is what I call home.
That is a hell of a lot of traveling. So, if we were to say, "Oh my gosh, you're a badass FMXer," or "Oh my gosh, you're a badass rally car driver," or those aren't the things, or are those the things that you're doing those 250, 280 days out of the year?
Well, I've actually joked that I'm a truck driver for a living, and when I get where I go, I get to ride a dirt bike. But
I like it. That's one hell of a way to put it.
We put about 80,000 miles on the truck a year. So yeah, there's a lot, 2 or 3 days driving, a 1-day show, and then 2 or 3 days driving home. So, I obviously I do get to ride a dirt bike and rally car and drive trucks and cars and whatever, but there's a lot of travel involved in it as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and is this all stuff with Nitro Circus, or is this something that you're doing on your own, or?
Little bit of everything. I do some Nitro Circus stuff still. They're doing their live tours now. I've had a couple parts in the 3D movie, and then I also have my own company now called Steel Rodeo Tour.
Okay.
Traveling around putting on style shows.
Nice. Okay, so you're kind of back to doing a lot of the freestyle stuff then nowadays. I saw a lot of you when it was coming up with the enduro, the Mesquite kind of enduro that the Nitro guys put on that you were out there racing in, the enduro cross race. Yep. But before that, it was kind of hard. It seemed like you were kind of out doing stuff. Not that you weren't doing anything, because it seemed like you were doing a lot, but it wasn't a ton of coverage on it. So that was kind of one of the big things. It's like, not only are you a badass cowboy from Oklahoma, which is close to Texas, which is where we live, but you drank whiskey, you're a badass motherfucker, and we wanted to talk to you on the internet. So, what is it that the Steel Rodeo Tour does, and where do you guys, are you in arenas, or what's the lowdown on all this stuff?
The Steel Rodeo Tours is the name of our company, and we put on freestyle motocross at basically any event. We specialize
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. We specialize in intermission type of events. We do a lot of rodeos, NASCAR races, opening to football games. We do a lot of stuff at motocross and supercross type things, music festivals. Like I said, we're kind of all over the place. Like, you wouldn't expect freestyle motocross at a football game, but during the tailgating parties, pre-game, there's not much for people to do. They just sit around and watch the TV and drink beer, so might as well watch somebody jump freestyle motocross. So a lot of stuff like that. It's kind of cool. We get to bring it to new demographic of people that wouldn't necessarily come out to a freestyle show or to a motocross event, and now we can bring them freestyle motocross and they get them hooked on our sport.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you have been doing freestyle motocross for a very, very long time.
Yes.
Do you remember the first tricks or the trick that won you your first freestyle motocross competition?
I do. The first thing that I really won, the first big event that I won was 1999 Gravity Games. It was a doubles contest with Travis Pastrana. And it was a whole run. It had 12 to 15 tricks in it. But yeah, back then, man, tricks were like right side up. Nobody was upside down yet, but cliffhanger, a single seat grab, and you were the man. Steel flickers, no footed cans, knacks, stuff that nowadays wouldn't be top 20 in a freestyle show, or unless it's been done upside down. So
right, yeah, or on a stripper with the line of cocaine. Then it's extreme, because
a stripper is a trick that has been done upside down on more than. Yeah, no, we won't go there.
Yeah, I'm not telling my wife about it though, because that's for Thursday nights. We're on T-Back Tuesdays, as Todd Slavic and I like to call it. So it's interesting intermission though. You actually know Todd Slavic, the cowboy, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So what's that relationship like? Do you feel that it's a give and take, or is it all give?
I try to honestly distance myself as much as I can from him. I raced him in an enduro, and that's how we met. And then he's always trying to do naked pictures, and he's talking about me being naked on this show, and I'm like, no, dude, no, I'm not that. Whatever you do, that's what you do. But I just want to ride dirt bikes and have fun.
Right? Yeah. No. He is. He was on the show. Yeah. No. He's okay with it. He was on the show probably about a year ago, and we wound up calling it T-Back Tuesday because we started talking about all the thongs that we would wear. It got a little interesting, I'm not going to lie. But Todd is definitely a cool guy, and it's good to know that you guys are friends, because he's really good friends with your uncle, who is Guy Cooper, which is amazing that Guy Cooper is your uncle. Was your life just like before Travis Pastrana, just as many shenanigans, it just wasn't televised with him as your uncle?
Yeah, pretty much. Growing up in the Cooper family, I'm actually a fourth-generation motorcyclist, so all my aunts and uncles rode and raced. My grandparents owned a bicycle shop. So, yeah, there was always something on wheels, skateboards, bicycles, unicycles, tricycles. it had wheels, and it was usually upside down or in the air, and we just didn't land it back then. So.
Did you guys wear protection, though? I mean, would you have ever thought that you would be in 3D doing all this shit? I mean, come on now, really?
Definitely never thought I'd be in 3D and, in a movie theater and that. I grew up watching my Uncle Guy racing, and so I always knew it was possible to make a living and make a career of it. But I definitely never imagined where the sport would go. I've gotten to do so many things and meet so many cool people along the way that I never could have fathomed the stuff that I've gotten to do through freestyle motocross.
Yeah. I know that Cooperland and all that kinds of stuff was there something that sticks out in your head that you just were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening as a kid, like seeing all this racing and all this crazy stuff going on in your life?
Guy had a big jump out at his house that was called the 164 footer because he went 164 feet on it. And back then it was like mid 90s, early 90s. It was like one of the biggest jumps that had ever been done. And several pro racers had came back, like, traveling pro, Brian Swink, Robbie Raynard, a bunch of top level pro guys came back and they're like, God, you're nuts. There's no way we're not jumping that. And I was like 14 at the time, still racing amateur class. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it was definitely a crazy jump. He would like come from his driveway, pin it through the woods, through some trails, jump across the creek, and then hit this just big launch ramp into nothing. And then there was a landing. The landing was actually at about 140 feet, and he went like 30 feet past it. So
holy shit!
Didn't he bust a bunch of spokes out of his front rim when he landed?
He did, actually. Yeah, you remember that. It was in a Dirt Rider magazine back in the day.
I grew up in Tulsa. I heard about it whenever I was there.
Yeah, it's our buddy James. We're trying to work on our mic situation, and one day he's even going to have a microphone.
I was wondering if he was like Silent Bob over there in the corner. He just never talks. But.
Well, apparently not, because motherfucker just decided to start talking. Jeez, James. we keep telling him he's really just here for his looks, and now he just starts yapping like he's got something to say. I just can't. Go ahead.
I said, I guess that's good for a radio DJ,
Yeah. Gosh, that's what sucks though. Is like we're not even on the radio. We just do this on the internet because that way nobody could turn us off. We're just there, so it's like they can watch it or not, regardless of what we do.
That's right.
So I mean, do you think that you look better in 2D or 3D now that you've been in a 3D movie?
3D. It definitely shows my physique better.
Yep. I tell my wife that all the time, and she's like, "We're not buying the Magnum condoms." I was like, "But." Come on, we can make this work. She's like, no, we're not putting socks in it and just all this other. It's just ridiculous. I don't think there's any other reason. I don't know. I'm gonna try one day. I think I'll be in 3D. In a movie anyway. Because right now, I guess we're in 3D. I don't know. I'm no scientist. Are you?
That's 2D.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you and I are in 3D. That's why I looked at you. Because if I looked at him, he's in no D. He's a flat screen right now. If I look at you, we're in 3D. Right?
Okay.
Again, I'm not a scientist, but I'm just going to go with it. Yeah?
I guess so.
Yeah. James is on a one answer note.
I'm with Cecil.
Oh, damn it.
That's from Cecil Parker.
Damn it. Cecil Parker just slapped me in the back of the head through a damn Android phone. It's kind of ridiculous. So, I want to know more about you being a Hollywood stunt rider. And how badass that is. Didn't you do like Supercross the movie and like another movie? You were like a stunt rider or something?
Yeah, I did stunts. I did the backflip for Supercross the movie. Unfortunately, I was the chick that did the flip. I had like hair taped to my helmet. And
yeah, you
I
look like the
chick. I
chick.
actually wear a wig. They taped hair to the helmet. But yeah, I did stunts for that movie. There's an Ultimate Fighting movie called No Rules that I was in. And then Fantastic Four was definitely the biggest film that I was in. That one was really cool. They actually rented out Vancouver, BC place up in Vancouver, Canada, and like built an X Games course. Brought in like 5,000 extras and 10,000 cardboard cutouts and all of that for like a 30-second scene in the movie. It's like, couldn't you just buy footage from X Games a lot cheaper than renting out this stadium and bringing all these people in? But it was a blast for us. Ronnie Renner, Brian Deegan, and myself got to film it, and so. That was one of the highlights of my career. When I said I've gotten to do a lot of cool things and been very blessed throughout, That's one of them. You know.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It sounds like there was quite a few guys, professional motocross racers and riders and stuff, guys that are pretty badass on a dirt bike that were in Supercross the movie. Do you think that was money well spent, or was that movie just a bad idea?
The movie was, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. It was fun. I think some of the people involved in the production aspect were not always on the up and up. And so it kind of burned a lot of bridges. But it also brought Supercross, even though it wasn't really true to the Supercross roots,
right.
It still brought motocross and Supercross to a new forefront of people that might not have ever seen it.
Huh.
So.
Okay. Well, I had to ask because, Jimmy Albert, J Money, Jason Thomas, who's on the Pulp MX, he was one of the stunt riders, I believe, too. And he was always just kind of ragging on it and stuff. So I kind of wanted to get your perspective just on kind of how it went down for you guys that were actually paid to do it, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. Anytime we get to go ride our dirt bikes, I should be pumped. If somebody's paying me a little bit of money and I get to go ride a dirt bike, that's what life's all about to me, is going and having fun. Yes, the movie was kind of cheesy, and there was some parts that, like I said, aren't true to the Supercross roots. The team aspects and whatnot like that. When Ryan Villapoto gets hurt, Jake Weimer can't jump on his bike and go earn his points.
Right.
Silly things like that. But overall, it was an all right movie.
Well, yeah. All right. We could, yeah. I know. I've kind of had to see half of it with my daughter and other stuff, so I'm just kind of like, it's just like reliving some of like the scenes in my head just make me giggle. It's just kind of fun. But you have a cowboy hat on. Your name's Kenny Bartram, but everybody calls you Cowboy Kenny. And it seemed that was kind of like your shtick, that kind of stood out for you because of the fact that everybody else that was in the FMX scene was from, was SoCal. They were, thugs in their dickies with their tattoos and their no hair and their, I'd say muscles, but not everybody had them. I know I don't. You don't. That's okay. You're fine being skinny, just like me. 180 of pure awesome. You know what I'm saying? But so, being from Stillwater, Oklahoma, I would think that was who you were regardless. You're just a guy wearing your cowboy hat being you. Is that you? Or was it something that you just kind of became and then stuck with it?
It's kind of a combination. I grew up riding horses. My dad and my sister showed quarter horses and Appaloosas. So I grew up around horses, but when I was probably about 10 or 11, I went more motorcycles, and Dad and Cindy went with the horses. One of my managers along the way, we were on our way to Portugal to an event, and I had a bunch of nicknames growing up and in the early days of freestyle, and they just never really stuck, and they weren't marketable or anything. He goes, "Have you ever worn a cowboy hat?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I grew up wearing them."
Right.
Like, "You ought to try to wear a cowboy hat." And I'm like, "To a freestyle event? You're crazy." And we bought one actually at the Dallas airport and wore it to Portugal. It was absolutely the biggest hit ever. They're like, "Oh, Cowboy Kenny, in their Portuguese accent.
I was going to say that sounded more Asian, but we'll go with it. I mean, if that's what you think that Portuguese sound like, I'm in.
Whatever they sounded like, it sounded cool to us at the time. And then, I wore it to a couple of American events, and some of the riders kind of gave me grief at first, like, "What the heck are you doing wearing a cowboy hat?" After a little bit, they realized that, that was going to be my shtick, and it was very identifiable, and it was catchy, and it kind of stuck. And so it does fit, not only because I rode horses being younger. I do have a little bit different attitude than a lot of the SoCal, the rock stars or whatnot. I'm not tattooed, pierced. I don't drink and party. And I think I'm a fairly humble guy that's respectful. I grew up in Oklahoma with good roots.
Right.
Not to say anything bad about those guys, but a lot of them are Southern California, I don't know, just dropping F-bombs all the time.
Yeah.
And I am
BroCal.
the rock star here, going to do what I want, whatever. It's like some of them don't have a very good attitude, I don't think. So
I wouldn't disagree. I mean, but, I call them BroCal, but whatever,
yeah, BroCal, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't fit in that category,
That's okay. I think, you're awesome. I mean, I think that, the fact that you're not being somebody that you aren't. Like, you're not Cowboy Kenny being not Cowboy. I mean, you're Cowboy Kenny. You know, you've been that guy your whole life. You just didn't realize that you could do that and ride motorcycles at the same time. I think so. You probably threw that cowboy hat on, and you had a bunch. It was like automatically the dip came out in your lip. Your Wranglers grew out of your legs, and it was just like, bam! Holy shit! I've been this guy my whole life. What happened? So I think it works. I think it's okay.
What he said.
Yeah, you're like, boom, absolutely. I think it's fantastic. So Travis Pastrana. How did you guys meet?
Travis, we actually met. He came back. There's a big amateur national event in Ponca City every year.
Right.
And Travis would come back about a week before that and get acclimated to the weather. My uncle, being Guy Cooper, he would come and stay at Guy's house for a week and train with him and ride with him. So I'll never forget, actually, the very, very, very first day I met him. I was still in high school or whatever, and went out to Guy's. It's like, yeah, Travis is already down at the track. Gear up and go down and ride with him. So I'm riding like 250 Pro class at that time, 250 two-stroke, which is now the 450 class, whatever. And I was a local pro guy. I was never that fast, but I went down there, and it was Guy Cooper's track, but it was basically where I practiced. It was my practice track. Yeah. It was everything I could do to keep up with Travis, and he was riding an 80. And it pissed me off so bad. Like, this little twerp on an 80, and I can't pass him on my own practice track. But after that, we became great friends. You know, I stuffed him in a couple corners, and he hit me back, and I was like, all right, you're cool.
You're like, this is what pubes look like, young man. I am older than you. Respect the man with the body hair.
Again, that's something more Todd Slavicky. I'm not that guy. We race dirt bikes, and that's it.
I'm glad that we can keep calling out Todd Slavic like this. I mean, it makes me feel good. It makes me realize that I'm not alone in my fears, and that, you know, there's something weird going on there.
I've gotten 2 or 3 text messages during this interview, and I'm pretty sure they're all from Todd.
He's just trying to text you because he's hoping your phone's in your pants. Again, a whole other Todd Slavic kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's not really saying anything worth anything. He's just trying to see if he can get an arousement out of you. In any shape or form. Okay, so Travis Pastrana, we've heard that, or, you know, it seems to be alluded to that if you're going to hang out with Travis Pastrana, you need to be prepared to do crazy-ass shit. And if you're not going to do crazy-ass shit, you know, you may not be able to stay around and hang out all that long. Is there any kind of fair assessment there, or is that just kind of more of a TV personality kind of understanding of hanging out with Travis Pastrana?
That is absolutely 110% the rule. If you're going to be with Travis, you're going to do some crazy, stupid stuff.
So the first craziest, stupidest thing that either he made you do or you guys came up with together, what was that?
Okay, very, very, very first time I ever went to Travis's house. I had known him for 5 or 6, maybe 7 years before that, but had always been here in Oklahoma. I show up at his house. I've been driving 12, 14 hours, whatever, and I'm beat tired when I get there. I had literally stepped out of the door of my truck and shut the door. He handed me a lit Roman candle. I was like, Roman Candle Wars, go! I'm like, I've never done Roman Candle Wars. What do I do with this thing? And all of a sudden it starts shooting, and people are shooting at me, and I'm like, ah! So I start pointing it. One goes down my shirt and blows up inside my shirt. I drop the Roman candle, I'm beating my chest. I'm like, time out. And he runs all the way up to me. He's like 2 feet from me, still shooting. Like, what the hell? Is this the initiation or what? Yeah. Like I said, when you go to Travis's, you're going to do some stupid stuff.
All right. Well, okay, and I think one of the deals, I don't know if I could ever actually go through with it, but say I'm like, man, I'm hanging out with Travis. I want to do something crazy. Stuff's going to get nuts. How do you do that? How do you get into, like, I mean, obviously I know I'm not going to be the guy's best friend or anything, but it's like, you're like, I want to go do some crazy stuff with Travis Pastrana. What's the key in there? How do you make that happen? I doubt it's through Todd Slavic.
I don't really know. There are random people that show up at his house, and sometimes they get to do random cool stuff. Sometimes it's really stupid, and they become friends and whatever. But
right.
No, I don't know. Just for the random, the random person out there. I know there's thousands of kids that are like, yeah, I want to go to Travis's house and do cool stuff. And he's pretty open with his place, but obviously you can't invite thousands of kids out there to do stupid stuff. Somebody will get hurt and killed. lawsuits and all that kind of stuff.
Liability's a bitch.
I don't really have a good answer for that one. Sorry.
That's okay. No, I figure at some point in time in my adult life, hopefully I can come across the guy, high five him, and give him a good handshake, and just be like, "Thank you for being such a bad inspiration in my life. I really appreciate it." Even though, unfortunately, he's younger.
I'll tell you
than
what. Next month, April 12th, I think, he's racing the nationwide race in Dallas, in your hometown. If you're feeling frisky, you could hop a fence, run across the nationwide track, run across the Texas Motor Speedway, and high-five him as he's doing the introductions.
Shit. I don't need to be feeling frisky. Yeah, I don't need to be feeling frisky, because if I do that, I'm going to be getting frisked. Like, going to jail. And then...
No, I meant with your clothes on. Don't worry. The clothes on.
Oh, okay.
Just run across the high-five.
Well, it's actually interesting that you say that, because I was talking to a certain young lady that works at TMS today, at Texas Motor Speedway. Don't take that for anything else than what it sounds like. And we may be out there doing some fun stuff, so there's a good chance I'll be out there. So now that I know he's going to be out there racing on Friday night, I may try to figure out a way to high-five and handshake that man without making it too awkward or illegal. I think that
those are good. Keep it not awkward and keep it legal. That was a bonus.
All right. So the way that with Gravity Games not existing anymore, and the way that X Games has changed since you've won your 10 X Game medals, how do you see that kind of the sport of FMX in, I guess, the main media format, either continuing to grow, how it's going to change, or what it's going to how it's going to continue to evolve?
Can I plead the fifth on this one?
You're like,
no, I'm just kidding.
I don't care.
No. It's awesome to see the sport grow so much. It's unbelievable to me to have been a part of something since basically the beginning, all the way up and see where it's at now. It's a great feeling to know that I was a part of that and helped with that. I do think X Games freestyle as a whole has gotten so big. It's so political now that it's no longer about the riders and about the contest. It's about whose sponsor paid the most money and who knows who to get into what events and that sort of stuff. And that's a bummer. I would like to see someday there become qualifiers for the different events that are open to the public. We come across kids all the time just out traveling and whatnot and watching them ride or seeing pictures. There are kids that are amazing riders that nobody ever knows because they don't get that break to get into X Games. X Games is invite only now, and they only invite about 8 guys per discipline, and it's extremely hard to get in. Even for a guy like myself that has a past, that has credentials and previous gold medals and whatnot, it's still hard for us to get in to certain disciplines. So the young kids coming up, they don't stand a chance. So I would like to see more qualifiers to give the younger generation a chance to shine. And then I think it's also cool stuff like the Nitro Circus live tour and Nuclear Cowboys and that, where it's more of a choreographed show. I haven't actually seen the Nuclear Cowboys. I've heard that there's a lot of dancing girls, and it's not necessarily a family sport or a family show, which is kind of odd for Phil. They normally are very family oriented.
Right.
But I think it's cool that it has a choreographed theme to it, and it's more of a show rather than just 10 guys hucking themselves with the gnarliest trick they can, and whoever doesn't get carted off is the winner. I think it's cool that they do have a choreographed show.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because listening to like the Pulp MX show and stuff like that, I think it was Mike Mason maybe that he had on, and he was talking about doing the show because he's one of the Nitro Circus guy, not Nitro Circus, the Nuclear Cowboys guys, and he's Nuclear like Cowboys. It's regimented. Like when it's showtime and stuff's serious. And I think that's actually really good because obviously that shit's dangerous. Like I think doing the tricks themselves is dangerous when you're the only guy out there on the ramp, but when you've got 10 guys out there, it has to be choreographed. It has to feel, some sort of form of safety net to kind of make sure people are on track. And so I think that's good to hear that they've kind of that they've really. But it is, I think the showgirls aspect of it really has me intrigued now, and I might want to go more to one of their shows.
Yeah, if you're single guy from 18 to 25, you're by all means go. But I wouldn't necessarily take a 8-year-old boy or your kids or whatever. I wouldn't necessarily recommend them. But like I said, I haven't actually seen it. I haven't been to one yet. I just keep hearing that there's a lot of dancing girls.
Right? Yeah, that's okay. I'm 33 and I'm not single. And I still want to go. So, everybody's got their own devices. It happens, you got to figure stuff out. I understand. So you have a souvenir store on your website. Did you know that, or is that somebody else's doing?
Did somebody put that up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about it.
Okay. What are you selling? Are you selling yourself?
I'm selling myself. Sell my soul to the devil.
Hey.
No. Just hats, T-shirts, keychains, koozies. My mom's a locksmith, so we got kind of cool 3D keychain that's a cowboy hat with a light in it. Everybody thinks those are cool. Magnets, stickers, kind of the basic stuff. But get your Cowboy Kenny branded stuff.
Boom. So why is there no seat time stuff in your store?
Because you haven't given us any to sell.
Boom. Yeah, we got these badass pint glasses. Look at that thing. 20 ounces. You can hold 16 ounces of beer, 4 ounces a head. That's what any over 21-year-old needs. And if you're under 21, you need it for Coca-Cola and water. We don't mess around here at the show. Or
I might even add this beautiful orange rib crib cup from tonight to my souvenir store. I actually drank from this cup. See, watch. I will sign it. It will be worth 10 cents.
Boom. I think somebody's going to buy it. It's going to happen. Go to his souvenir store on his website, cowboykenny.com. Not that we like to have other sponsors on the show, but I did notice you have a Fly Racing shirt on. You are a sponsored Fly racing rider. Did you know that they're our title sponsor of this show?
I did, and I noticed you have on a Fly shirt as well.
That's because I'm a Fly mother. You know what I'm saying?
I'm really glad that I didn't grab that shirt today.
We would have looked awesome.
Well, but I don't know that I want to look that much like you. I mean,
That's
no
true.
offense.
I know. Once I grow out that goatee, we're pretty much like Twinkies. I think. Who do you think looks better in the cowboy hat, though, him or me?
Well, if you still had that stash, the molester stash,
yeah, it
would probably be you. But right now,
yeah,
it's that guy.
Yeah. I know what I'd call it, but I'd see kids running around in the background, and I'm not going to go there, so I don't want to get too many people in trouble. Well, all right, dude. Well, so your souvenir store, obviously there's going to be some seat time stuff up there eventually. You guys should go check out his site, cowboykenny.com. But another site that you should go check out is ridepg.com. Why? People would ask, would you want to go check out ridepg.com? Because Powersport Graphics, as they are better known as, is one of our fantastic partners and sponsors here at Seat Time. So people are like, oh my gosh, how do I save money with them? Well, one of the ways that's fantastic that you can save money with them, save up to 40%, is with their ready-to-ship option. So you go in there, pick one of the little kits for your bike, which you could do, and you could go, oh, that's fantastic. I want that. I want to have that on my bike. Pick the ready-to-ship option. It is 40% cheaper because of the fact that you're not putting a bunch of custom work into their artists and all that kinds of stuff. You can also, if you order it before 11 a.m. Eastern time, boom, ships the same day. So you get it the same day, save all this kinds of money. And if you're just like, I want to add a little bit of extra, I want to have some fun with this, you can save 10% by putting in the discount code SEATTIME. So SEATTIME is the discount code. So ridepg.com, great supporters of Seat Time. They've made some fantastic stuff for the Seat Time 300 bike that we have out there. And, for some other people, maybe not. But that's okay. We'll soon to turn them to the dark side eventually. Go check them out. All right, Cowboy Kenny, we really appreciate you being on. You're fairly close to us. Being that we're, just in the north of the Metroplex here in McKinney. You're in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I think we're going to have to hang out sometime in the near future.
That's a possibility.
Yeah. We won't bring Todd Slavic.
Fair enough. Yep. As long as the clothes all stay on and there's dirt bikes involved, I'm good. Let's hang out.
Hey, I got a question for you, Kenny.
Uh-oh.
Do you guys?
I got an answer for you.
Do you guys still got the tumbleweed pit bike race up there?
No, they've stopped doing bar races at the Tumbleweed. There are a pit bike race series going on in Stillwater. There's a Lazy J arena. It's like a horse riding arena indoor, and they do about once a month. They do pit bike races, but definitely not the same as the old bar races.
Oh, that sucks, man. Because I was gonna say that'd be an awesome thing for Brian to come up and cover for Seat Time, because that bar race was always a good time.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun. You get your for those of you that don't know, Tumbleweed is a country western dance hall here in Stillwater, and before their dance floor got replaced, they let us come in and race pit bikes on it, and then we would actually race like a supermoto track outside, down the stairs, in through the dance floor, and back out. But while they were open to normal bar goers or dancers,
normal patrons,
everybody's in there drinking. We're coming through on our bikes, like.
yeah, you just got a bunch of people two-stepping out on the dance floor, and here comes a pit bike ripping by them, and half of them were drunk, half of them weren't. And they're like, "What? Okay, whatever." And they just come back dancing. It was the funniest thing ever. They were awesome.
It's just a regular Saturday night at Tumbleweed in Oklahoma, right? All right. Well, we're gonna have to figure out a way.
Another Saturday night.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's died yet, and so at least after 2 people have passed away, I think that's when stuff starts to get weird, and we might have to call the cops. Before that, it's just a regular old. Then you just turn the bodies into trophies, and then people get
that's right.
That way you get your cadaver parts when you have to have your ACL replaced. Free of charge. So, Cowboy Kenny, besides the fact that we've talked about your website, which is cowboykenny.com, I just love to talk about your website because hopefully there'll be some Seat Time merchandise for sale up there in the souvenir store. Where else can people go and find out about you on either social media networks, all kinds of other stuff, and then, of course, about your rodeo that you've got going on that you're traveling around with?
Our other website is steelrodeotour.com, STEEL, rodeotour.com. And then Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that is Cowboy Kenny 690. Nice. Believe it or not, Cowboy Kenny was taken, so I had to add the 690, which is obviously my racing number.
Right.
So Cowboy Kenny 690 is all the social stuff.
So did anybody say why was Cowboy Kenny 69 taken?
I never tried that one. Sorry.
I mean, if anybody's going to ask, it's unfortunately going to be me, so I figure I just kind of have to throw it out there. All right. Well, when it comes to social media kind of stuff, Seat Time is all over the place. SeatTime.co is the website where you can find all this stuff. We put all the shows up there. We archive all the interviews that we do. It's a great place as well to find awesome news because this is a pint full of awesome. If you happen to be on Facebook, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/seattime, as well on Twitter, twitter.com/seattime_co. It's where they changed it up a little bit there, and we don't have a lower third for it, but of course, Instagram as well, Seat Time. Put up pictures of, fun things like motorcycles and what we're drinking on the show. What might have happened at a race this past week. Stuff that people want to know about. So you should follow us in all those fun little places. So Cowboy Kenny, we really appreciate you being on the show tonight. It was kind of fun. We had 2 different little interviews, totally different people that covered totally different genres of motorcycle racing. So have you ever raced Mike Lafferty?
I believe I have, actually.
Oh, who won?
Definitely Mike.
Okay. Where do you think you raced him at?
I did a GNCC race in Ocala, Florida back in the mid-'90s. I think he was there. I know I've ridden with him. He's been out to my Uncle Guy's house and ridden quite a bit, but I think that's probably the only place I've raced him at.
Cooperland. One day. I'm going to go out there. Todd Slavic showed me some pictures. But if he's going, I'm not going because I don't want to freak you out. I'm not showing up with Todd Slavic. I don't want it to get weird. It's just not happening. Well, dude.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
It happens. All right. Well, that's the perfect. Yeah, he's a weird guy. I love it. Todd Slavic, the Cowboy, we love you. Don't let this go the wrong way. Cowboy Kenny, we appreciate your time. Remember, thanks for enjoying a pint full of awesome with us. We're going to see you on the internet soon, my friend. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Bye, dude.